Welcome and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
How good it is to be together in the sanctuary and on live stream. The times, they are changing. So as we prepare ourselves for the year of 5782, let's be mindful as a community to stand up for each other during these days and all days. We are blessed with clergy, Rabbi Mark Izeman and Cantor Emily Pincus, who recognize the importance of keeping our community bonded in friendship and in safety. We will get through this, and we will do this together. So let's invite our friend Jane Pinkett to lead us in the candle blessing, page 120.
Shabbat kodsho, be'ahava uvratzon im kilanu, zikaron lemase bereishit, ki hu yom tefillah l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'yetziat Mitzrayim, ki
For those of us who are on live stream, it is time to say hello and wish Shabbat Shalom to your friends and loved ones. For all of us here in the sanctuary, wish each other a Shabbat Shalom.
So now that we have safely and very carefully greeted our friends, we can return to our seats. Appreciating how wonderful it is to still be able to pray together. So the next song that we are going to sing, Dodi Li, is actually from Song of Songs, and the very famous verse, Ani le Dodi v'Dodi Li, I am my beloved and my beloved is mine. We actually sing this on Shabbat. It's a Sephardic ritual to sing from Song of Songs, because it's this idea of greeting the Sabbath bride and God as a lover, like in a love relationship. Also the idea of love as kindness. And the ancient rabbis made a connection between Ani ledodi, v'dodi li, and the month of Elul, which we are now in, right? That is the month right before Rosh Hashanah, right? So it's that month of Cheshbon HaNefesh, and we are reviewing our soul's checkbook, right, in our accounting, seeing what we did well, what we did not so well. But Ani ledodi v'dodi li, and those, actually becomes an acronym for Elul. So the Aleph, Ani ledodi, the Lamed, v'dodi, that's the Vav and the U sound in Elul, and the Lamed, Li. Ani ledodi v'dodi li, the month of Elul, is also a month where we can think, we can treat ourselves kindly, right? And we can look at ourselves with love and think of our relationship both to ourselves and to God, not just as one of scolding, right? But also of one as love and compassion. So we sing Dodi Li. Dodi li va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Dodi li va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Mi zot olah, min hamidbar, mi zot olah. Mekuteret mor, mor ulevona, mor ulevona. Dodi li va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Dodi li va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Libortini achoti chala, libortini chala. Libortini achoti chala, libortini chala. Dodi li va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Dili va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Uri tafon, uvu Izeman. Uri tafon, uvu Izeman. Dodi li va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Dodi li va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim.
We welcome the Sabbath bride with Lacha Dodi on page 138, verses 1 to 5 and 9.
Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad hishmi'anu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet מחשבה תחילה. Going to stay with the sanctuary doors open because we want to continue to greet the Sabbath bride, and also we want all the bad air to stay moving out the sanctuary and going up the vent.
We turn to page 146 for the Bachu.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam va'ed.
Page 149 in the middle of the page. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back by my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Aravim. Please be seated.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, נגע יומם ולילה. ואהבת אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד, שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם, לעולם ועד.
Now, please be seated. Thank you.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתיכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We read together on page 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God.
And we continue on page 158 with our Song of Miracles, Mi Chamocha, who is like you, O God? Yai, lai, 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 lai. 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 Mi chamocha ba'ilim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ne'ilim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Norad ilot osif ele, norad ilot osif ele, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Malchutecha rov alecha, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי עלו ואמרו, זה אלי עלו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
We continue on page 160 for the Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim. Guide us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim.
We continue with the Tefillah, beginning on page number 164, using only the even numbers. Please rise.
Open up my lips, let my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
We continue with our own private prayers.
So Psalm 27 is a psalm that is said during the month of Elul. And we can find a little part of it that we're going to sing together. It's on page 662. And traditionally, the whole psalm is actually said for every day of this month, coming sort of at the end of a service of thinking about repentance and ways to do better. But it starts with this. One thing I ask of Adonai, only that do I seek, to live in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of Adonai and to frequent God's temple. And so we sing Achat Sha'alti. Achat Sha'alti me'et Adonai otav akesh. Achat Sha'alti me'et Adonai otav akesh. Shivti beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai, lachazot benom Adonai ulevaker beichalo, lachazot benom Adonai ulevaker beichalo.
We continue the service with the reading of the Torah. We invite Mickey Joseph to join us on the bima. Please rise.
And we're on page 364. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udevar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael bikedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adoninu, Kadosh Shmo, Gadlul Adonai iti, Unevru b'ma Shemo yachtav. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, ya la lai la lai, yai la lai lai. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai la lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai la lai lai, ya la lai la lai, yai la la lai la lai.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. שופטים ושוטרים, תיתן לך בכל שעריך, אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך לשבטיך, ושפטו את העם משפט צדק, לא תעשה משפט, לא תכיר פנים, ולא תיקח סוחט, כי הסוחט יבוא עיני חכמים ויסלף דברי צדיקים. צדק צדק תרדוף למען תחיה וירשת את הארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך.
Yes, Shekoah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Now with the Torah out in front of us, we offer a prayer of healing. We are especially thinking of our members from the congregation, Elaine Wall, Ronnie Heller, Jamie Stern, Layla Stern, Joan Lipton, Arlene Green, Sadie Rosenkrantz, Alice Leibowitz, Roberta Traeger, Jody Ann Herman, Judith Locasio, Rochelle Weinberg, Don Levy, Meg Levine, Keith Bedell, and Judith Rudin. As I point to you, if there are any names you would like to share into the space to show of healing, please read them. Please say it out loud.
Don Levy. Carrie Speza's dad.
And now we turn to page 371 to sing the prayer for healing, the Misha Barak.
May the source of strength, who the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
To help lift and dress the Torah, we would like to call up to the Bima Phyllis and Michael Rosenberg. Please rise.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad We continue on page 374 with Eitz Chaim He. Eitz Chaim He, lama chazikim ba, ve'tom keha meushar
Tonight's Devar Torah will be given by Sue Izeman.
Hi everyone, Shabbat Shalom. This week's Parsha is Shoftim, Judges, and it's a continuation of Moses' multiple goodbye speeches to the Israelites before they eventually go into the Promised Land. In this Parsha, Moses is laying out the rules and procedures for establishing a fair judicial system. Moses tells the Israelites to appoint judges, and he gives them guidance on how the judges should act. Be fair, be careful in your investigation, don't take the word of just one person to convict someone of a crime. Shoftim is where one of our most beloved Torah quotes comes from. Justice, justice shall you pursue. And Gina said to me as we were coming in, this parsha was made for me. At first I thought, this Devar will be easy. I can talk about justice. But as often happens when I read Torah text, I get lost in some of the details. Shoftim also describes how the Israelites should avoid sorcerers, how they should create separate cities for people who create crimes accidentally, how to destroy a city, and how to claim the spoils of war. Shoftim is also one of the 3 places in the Torah in which the phrase "an eye for an eye" is stated. 3 places. That must be an important statement to be repeated so frequently, but it's also a problematic one. Often we hear this phrase used in the context of retribution. You hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. It shows up in the Christian Bible too, and President Trump even said it's his favorite Bible quote. So at my first reading, it hardly seemed in the same spirit as justice, justice shall you pursue. As you can see, I got lost in the details. So I reached out to a few friends who reminded me that I can take a step back to get a broader context. Rabbi Kaiserman told me to dig deeper and look at more modern interpretations of Shoftim. Scott reminded me that a judicial system that was equitable and universal represented a radical shift in thinking in biblical times. And Jody kept me focused on the importance of fairness. So I gave Shoftim another reading. An eye for an eye can be seen in another light. It can mean be fair. If someone wrongs you, do not seek vengeance. Do not have a consequence that is more than the original crime. By laying out a fair consequence, Shoftim is telling the Israelites to be different, to do better than the others around them. In the context of the biblical era, Shoftim represented a shift in thinking. The Israelites are establishing a legal system that applies to everyone, that must be applied fairly. It says, you shall show no partiality. There aren't exceptions for people in power. There's a prohibition against bribes, and you can't show favoritism just because you know somebody. This had not been true universally before this time. For the Israelites, for the people many years later who wrote the text, and for us today, that commitment to fairness and equality is very important. For us at RTFH, justice, fairness, equity, and equality are frequent topics of conversation and action. The Temple Board, the Social Action Team, the Women's Connection, TAFE, and our diversity teams all work tirelessly on issues related to creating equity. We work hard to support and facilitate justice. But what does justice look like? We sometimes use the words equity, equality, and justice interchangeably. But when we are looking at real issues in biblical times and in our current world, these words can have different meanings. I'm going to take a risk here to try and convey a visual image through words. This is an image that I first became aware of in the context of my work with children and adults with disabilities. It's a 2-panel drawing that shows 3 people, tall, medium height, and short, watching a baseball game. They're standing next to a wooden fence, trying to see over it. Only the tallest person can see over the fence easily. The medium height person can just peer over the top of the fence, and the short person cannot see at all. Each of them standing on one box. This panel is meant to show equality. Everyone is getting the same thing, but they're not all able to benefit from it. In the second panel, the tall person has given their box to the shortest person, who's now standing on 2 boxes and can see over the fence. All 3 can now see the game that they're watching. I didn't even realize when I wrote this that I'm doing a baseball analogy, and neither Neil or the rabbi are here to appreciate it. So I want you all to tell them. I did a sports analogy as part of my devar. Anyway, so everybody can see the game. This is equity. Everyone gets what they need. I've seen this 2-panel graphic used a lot in training related to my work, related to supporting kids with disabilities. It tells us that we're committed to go beyond everybody is treated the same to everybody gets what they need. And it's a very powerful visual. When doing the Googling for this devar, I found multiple versions of this drawing, some using the same image to call for racial justice, some for disability access, some for gender equality. After this image had been around for a while, people started adding to it. The most common adaptation that I've seen, the one that I sometimes use in trainings, adds a 3rd panel where the wooden fence has been removed and replaced by a chain link fence, one that does not block anyone's view. We might say that this 3rd panel represents justice. The barrier to participation, the wooden fence, has been removed, and all 3 people can participate fully. Some versions of the drawing push the analogy even further by adding a fourth panel labeled reality, which shows one person with unlimited boxes to stand on and one person standing in a hole, starting at less than 0. I had no idea of the origin of this image until I was working on this devar. I'd always thought of it as a way to explain the need for creativity and systemic change related to children with disabilities, because that was the way that I was using it. But I actually did find an article written by the person who drew the first image. In 2016 article on medium.com, Craig Frohl described how his equality equity image came about and how it became, in his words, an accidental meme. So, thanks to Craig Frohl and those who built on his image, we can now start to answer the question, what does justice look like? Justice means identifying and working to remediate the sources of inequality. It means knowing when you are the tall person who has easy access to resources and when you can make sure that others have equal access to the same resources. It might mean knowing that when you are the one who, maybe accidentally, built the wooden fence in the first place, and you are the only one who can take it down. It might mean identifying barriers that people face and reducing those barriers, removing the overall need for extra resources. Justice means knowing that there are systemic and historical factors that impact people's lives, and it means working to remove or remediate those inequities. In Shoftim, the Israelites are told to pursue justice for everyone, regardless of their connections, wealth, or strength. In celebrating the importance of an equitable justice system, Shoftim sets the stage for Reform Judaism's commitment to equality, equity, and justice, and to the removal of systemic barriers. Justice isn't perfect, but we are obligated to keep working to make it better. We don't always see the barriers, but we must continue our work to dismantle them. I feel very grateful to be part of a community that is actively working to identify inequities and to put in place strategies for building justice. Whether this is something that is occurring in our temple community, our neighborhood, our city, the world at large, or even in our own behavior, we are trying to be more aware. We are doing the work to identify the needs, and we are working towards the solutions. There's a lot to do, and I know we have the desire and strength to do it. A few weeks ago, Susan Friedman's devar reminded us to do what is right and good. This week's parsha tells us to pursue justice. Deuteronomy sometimes seems full of arbitrary rules, but it is also clear in telling the Israelites then and us now how to lead good lives. In recent weeks, we've heard references in Devarim to various rabbinic scholars, but I'm going to end with someone new. A good friend of mine does really impactful work in their day job and performs in drag on the side. They have a hit song in which they remind us how we can have a positive impact on the world. Never thought you'd hear a drag queen quoted on Shabbat, did you? But here we are. My good friend Candy Samples will tell you, use your powers for good. That's how we get from inequity to fairness to equity to real justice. Shabbat shalom.
Okay, now the fun part. Yes. And so now I will walk around, and if you have any, you can't hear, oh, you can hear me now? Excellent. So I'll walk around, and if you have any blessings to share that happened to you during the week or in the coming weeks, just let everybody know. So let me know, and I'll come to you if you raise your hand. Oh, sure.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Rosenberg, and my grandkids are coming in to stay with me this coming week, so I hardly get to see them.
Jordan.
I have a bar mitzvah coming up, so okay.
I'm officially on vacation now for 2 weeks.
you.
Two things. One, I'm almost on vacation. And two, I got to share the bima with Gina Drangel this evening.
Thank you. Well, I am blessed to share the bima with Cantor Emily Pincus. Woo! Okay. And to share it with all of you. So thank you. Okay. So we prepare ourselves for the closing blessings. The mid-page 586, the middle of the page, please rise.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. Please be seated. So at this time, we remember those who are no longer with us. I'd like to read a poem before I read the names. This is on page 592. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. At this time in this congregation, we are remembering for Shloshim, Peggy Trupin, friend of Amy Geffen and George Shapiro. And for Yahrzeit, these sacred names: Elaine Alberg, Jose Ansniker, Anna Barad, Paul Berger, Harry Buchansky, Ann Chess, Sarah Cohen, Harry G. Epstein, Blanche Fishman, Edith Frankfurt, Emma Firth, Max Geller, Jeffrey Gilbard, Estelle Gilman, Morris Glasser, Marilyn Hochberg, Robert Hoffman, Nathan S. Hymans, Albert Jacobson, Samuel Klein, Marion Constan, Benjamin Krause, Celia Kraut, Anna Lando, Julius Leibowitz, Esther Leibowitz, Clara Levy, Libby Lightstone, Sydney Lightstone, Erica Catherine Look, Joseph Newman, Jacob Norwalk, Alex Oberlander, Helena Oberlander, Minnie Rochkin, Fanny Ross, Herman Z. Roth, Beatrice Barbette Sarfati, Robert Schwartz, Nathan Siegel, Pauline Silberman, Jesse Silverstein, Louis Salo, Gail B. Sovereign, Bruce Sternberg, Becky Traeger, George Walters, Doris Warner. And if there is any other name that anyone here would like to share, you can say the name as my eyes meet yours around the room. And also for those of us on live stream, you can put the name in the chat. We rise together as one congregation and turn to page 598 for Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah B'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayichon u'v'yomichon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman kariv yimru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah merorach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shemei v'kudesha b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran ba'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom v'mrumav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to all of us, to all of Israel. And to this we say, Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel ve'yimeru amen. Please be seated.
It was really good to be with all of you this evening, really. Thank you. Thank you, Cantor. Thank you, Joe and Bonnie.
And Mark.
And Mark. Hi, nice to meet you. So I have a few announcements to make. Religious school is open. If you have not already done so, please register your children for religious school. It's starting online in the beginning, and that's just for now. Torah study continues on through the book of Numbers on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Please see the e-blast for the link. Silichot will be observed on Saturday, August 28th. This will start at 8:30 with a movie, Joe's Violin, and a short program. And services will start at 10 p.m. As you all know by now, high holiday services will be online this year. We will once again strive to help bring this sacred community into a virtual yet holy space with a willing and open heart to Shuva, repentance, and renewal can happen anywhere. For anyone who would like to borrow a machzor for the high holidays, you can borrow a machzor today from Marjorie Blackman, who will be sitting outside the sanctuary. You can also borrow a machzor during weekday hours from the office. Please see the e-blast for details. Please note that this is for members only. One book for each holiday per member unit. Thank you, and may you all be blessed for a wonderful, wonderful new year. Shabbat Shalom.
But first, we have a challah blessing.
Right.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'tei avon. B'tei avon, and not bon appetit, but you will have your tigoneg coming shortly, so you can take that home and eat on the way or at home. And we conclude with Adon Olam, which is on page 625. Adon Olam, Hashem Allah, b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'nasa v'chefzo kol, azay melech shemo נקרא, ואחרי תגלוץ הכל, לבדו ינוף נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, להינשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. והוא אחד ואין שני, להנשילו, להכבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תכלית, ולא העוז והמשרה. והוא אלי וחי גואלי, וצורך לי בעת צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוס לי, מנת כוסי ביום אקרא. אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, להינשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, umevorach, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom umevorach. Adon olam Hashem Allah, v'terem hayati nira, ve'nasa v'chefzo kol, azay melech shemo nikra. Ve'acharei kimlot hakol, ve'adoi imloch nora, ve'hu haya, ve'hu hove, ve'hu yeh betifara. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.